As media communicators, we need a large toolbox of production elements. No matter what part of production you plan on pursuing, having knowledge in all areas is beneficial. We are engaged with media every day, and it affects the way we think about ourselves and the world around us. Studying media literacy and becoming media literate gives us skills to interpret the messages we see and hear. Media works on us in all sorts of ways. On this DVD, we will mostly be discussing the ways it affects us on an emotional level. As media communicators, we have to carefully plan out the emotions we want our viewer to feel. The goal of media literacy is not to tell people what to think, rather how to think. We want to equip you with the skills and tools to make sense of the information you're receiving and to help you in your future endeavors. As media communicators, we like control whether we know it or not. As we become better, we want to control everything we're sending out. One of the more difficult aspects of production to control is lighting.
We get emotional cues from colors.
Well, color it does a lot in terms of setting the tone. Again, it's an unconscious thing.
If we're going to be watching Dexter, which has a lot of blood in it, that red, you immediately would associate the color red with that television show. It's just so much a part of it.
A good example is The Wizard of Oz. Later in the film, they have them walking through the forest on their way to Oz, and everything is dark, including all the colors, and the lighting is set in such a way that Dorothy's light costume is muted. We're seeing a different world. We're seeing a scary world, a world that is dangerous.
In Wizard of Oz, green is used to show the goodness of nature and the wickedness of the witch, using context to throw people off.
Color really has a multifaceted psychological effect on anybody. We perceive color as being inherently emotional in nature. So warmer colors, more saturated colors have more energy. Cooler colors, less saturated colors have less energy. So by warm colors we mean yellows and oranges and reds. We also mean blues that are hypersaturated would also have a high level of energy. So generally speaking, you can use color to very simply bring up the energy or drop down the energy in a scene. Set up some scene. Let's say it's two people talking to each other, for example. Wash it with warm light, and it has a completely different, higher level of energy than if you take the exact same scene and play it in a wash of really low saturated blue-gray lights.
I want everybody to think about Facebook blue for a second. I just wonder if we could imagine Facebook's whole look in red. I can't. I don't know if it were in red, if it would be as easy to spend as much time in that website.
But colors can be deciphered differently according to cultural differences.
The color red in our culture means passion, maybe anger, maybe heat. Red is lucky in Chinese. So using the color red in China is about being lucky, but red in the Western world is about power.
If you were to watch a film and you see the funeral procession scene and everyone's in white, it would be a mistake to make a symbol of white as the way you would in a Western culture. It's part of a culture of a funeral procession, which would not be the case in the United States.
There's the movie Hero, where we have 3 different versions of the story, a red one, a blue one, and a white one. It's just interesting how the color affects the telling of the tale.
Soundtracks can help enhance the mood of a piece, but it also alters the piece completely.
And the favorite activity that I like to do in class is with Saving Private Ryan. The first time we look at the opening scene with the original score, guns, it's all natural sound. Then we look at it with maybe techno dance music. And there's a disconnect between the music and what we're looking at. And then the last one we look at is some kind of silly music. There's a complete disconnect, and they start thinking, it's funny. It's not funny.
If you take a scene and change the music, you get a very different scene, no matter what it is. Take any scene, somebody walking down the street. Let's say they're wearing a giant broad smile and it's just a shot of them, you know, walking towards camera. Put the sort of happy poppy, sort of like dun 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 music on it. It's got one flavor. You put dark synthesizer music with like people hitting trash can lids on that same thing, and you've got what looks like a serial killer walking at you.